Hey guys, what's up? Hope everyone's having a great day. Okay, so today we're taking a look at Christian Carino's second deposition, which was a full year after his first one. Let's not forget that the end of his first one, Elaine was squawking. Elaine spent that entire 3.5 hours really asking, in my own humble opinion, really stupid questions. I don't think she knew how to handle Christian Carino. I don't know if she assumed that he was a dum-dum. I don't know, but I think he ran her. I think he ran laps around her, to be honest. But at the end, Brown Rudnick turned around and said, okay, Elaine, that's your 3.5 hours. Like, it's time for you to skadoosh and it's time for us to take over. And she lost her marbles because she was under the impression that she got 7 hours. And apparently this is something that her Amber's previous lawyers had already agreed upon, that each party would get 3.5 hours because they were running on California law. Elaine did not know this, or she claimed she did not know this. I don't know who's right or wrong in this, but anyway, Elaine was squawking. So let's see what happens in today's. Again, it's going to be another long one, guys. So take breaks, do whatever you need to do. But I'm here. I'm doing it. Okay, so who do we have? We have Elaine. Oh, so we have Miss Pindato on behalf of Amber's team. So it looks like Elaine's not even there. We have Mr. Preziato on behalf of Depp, and we also have Kathleen Zellner. Interesting. Is Amby here? And of course, we have David Darren, who is Christian Carino's attorney. Amber's not here. Interesting. I feel like Amber lost steam because at the beginning, she was there for everyone's depositions, everybody's. And then all of a sudden, I noticed as the depositions took years in between, Amber just didn't. So I don't know. I don't know if I don't know. Anyway, these are all of the things that they're going to be showing. And today's examination is by Depp's team, Mr. Preziato. So let's see what happened. I have not taken a look at this. Everyone's just calling themselves in. Okay, so it starts off with Mr. Preziato because he's doing all the questions today. Hello, Mr. Carino. Nice to see you again. Christian, you too. Mr. Preziato, how are you? Christian, good, thanks. Mr. Preziato, if you recall, your last deposition was taken in this case over a year ago on January 19th, 2021. Have you had your deposition taken in any manner since then? Christian, I have not. Mr. Preziato, okay, and if I recall, you didn't have much deposition experience prior to a year ago, is that right? Christian, I have been through a few depositions prior. Mr. Preziato, okay, let me just go through the ground rules quickly just to refresh your recollection on how this. Christian, sure. Lawyer keeps going. Proceeding is going forward. So everything that is said while we're on the record is taken down verbatim by the court reporter. So it's important that we not speak over each other. The best way to do that is if you could wait until I finish my question before you begin your answer, and in turn, I will wait until I feel like you've completed your your answer before I go on to my next question. Inevitably, we will speak over each other. That happens in depositions. But if we try to, we can keep it to a minimum if we focus on those ground rules. Also, you'll have the opportunity to correct your testimony if need be. You will receive your testimony in transcript booklet format, and you'll have the opportunity to look through there, make any corrections that you think are necessary. Do you understand that you're under oath, which has the same force and effect as you were in front of a judge in court of law? Christian, I do. Okay, it's also important because what is being said here is also taken down by a court reporter. It's important that you verbalize, not a court reporter, just a reporter. It's important that you verbalize your answers as opposed to nods or even ahas or anything like that to make sure you're audible with your answers. Do you understand that? Christian, I do. Good. I'm entitled to your best testimony. However, please let me know if one, your answer is a guess as opposed to an estimate, because a guess is speculation, and it's important that the attorneys know that you're guessing as opposed to estimating. Now, it's okay if you estimate. For example, if I ask you when something occurred, obviously, or you may not know the exact date, but you can give an estimate. In most instances, something will refresh your recollection, or you'll have a thought that will remind you of the general time frame of that event. So that's an estimate of opposed to a guess. Do you understand the difference? Christian, I do. Okay, is there any reason why you can't give your best testimony today? Christian, no. Any issues with your ability to recollect? Christian, what does that mean? It just means I asked if you can give your best testimony today, which would require you not to have any issue with respect to your ability to remember or recall things from the past. I assume you don't have any problems in that regard. Christian, I don't. Okay, now if you need to take a break, just say so. You can take a break at any time. I just ask you not take a break while a question is pending. Just go ahead and answer. Christian, okay. Answer the question and you can ask for a break. And again, you don't have to have a reason to take a break. Just ask for one. Christian, okay, well, I'll tell you in advance. I have a dog that will have to take a break just to take him out for 15 minutes, probably around 3 o'clock. That would be great if we can do that. Perfect. We'll do that then. Christian, thank you. Okay. Don't get frustrated, but I may be asking you questions that were asked in your first portion of this deposition. I just need to create my own record as opposed to the record that was created by opposing counsel at that time. So there may be some repeat. It's been a year, so you may not even remember that these questions have been asked. But if you would just be patient in that regard, I would appreciate it. Christian, sure. So let me start with your career. Who do you currently work for? Christian, creative artist agency. And when was your first hired there? Christian, about 18 years ago. Okay, so sometime around 2003, 2004? Christian, correct. And what is your title today at CAA? Christian, I'm an agent. And when you started at CAA, what was your title? Christian, the same. And does your agency focus? Why don't you describe for me the type of agency services you provide? Christian, I service as the primary agent on a number of our highest profile clients and build and manage teams around them across the entire agency. So my responsibilities are beyond any one specific discipline. Okay, can you give me, I know it would take too long for you to give an exact example for what you do there, but you can just give me a general feel on what your day-to-day basis in a service of your clients. Christian, I build business plans around all of the different disciplines where an individual client has a business opportunity and manage the plan and the terms and the strategies and the execution of those deals and the workforce and the work that follows across the building. Okay, thanks for that. And is that what you've been doing for the last 18 years? Christian, nope, that has probably been over the past 10 years. Okay, and how was your job different prior to that at CAA? Christian, prior to that, my initial focus was the commercial representation area, specifically focused on representing brands and defining their entertainment marketing strategy and representing clients, but predominantly in the commercial space. Okay, but for the last 10 years or so, you've been representing individuals primarily as opposed to brands, is that right? Christian, I still represent both. Okay, Christian, but predominantly individuals, correct. Okay, let's talk about your representation of individuals. And I'm not asking you to disclose any client names or other than perhaps those parties involved in this case, but describe for me what industries typically your clients are in. Christian, it crosses all the different disciplines. So I represent actors and music artists and magicians and comedians and brands and writers, and that's it. Okay, and Christian, models and tattoo artists. Okay, I was gonna say I would characterize all of that as entertainment industry, but since you added tattoo artists and models, I'm not sure that applies, but generally you would say that the entertainment industry. Christian, yes. And again, I'm sorry, you've been doing that, representing individuals in the entertainment industry for approximately 10 years? Christian, 18 years. 18 years, okay, but the last 10 years, there's been more of a focus on individuals than commercial brands, is that accurate? Christian, correct. The transition started probably 5 years in, but over the past 10 years, definitely predominantly individuals. Okay, and you mentioned actors. Could you give me, for the last 5 years, let's say, could you give me a percentage of, in regard to all of the clients you have, what percentage of those are actors, would you say? Christian, it depends on how you want to frame that, because there are music artists that I represent who are also actors, and then there are actors who are music artists. So if the question is what percentage of my clients, is that how you'd like me to answer it? Yeah, I mean, to the extent that they're both, let's say, a musician and an actor, include actors to the extent that you're servicing in the actor side of their businesses. Christian, I would say between 20 and 25%. Okay, and were you in the agent business prior to being employed at CAA? Christian, I was not. I won't spend much time on this, but what industry were you in at that time? Christian, the advertising industry. And do you recall the name of the firm you were with before you came to CAA? Miss Pintado. Objection, asked and answered the last time. Mr. Darren, you can answer. Christian, were you asking me the last agency I was at before? Yeah, my question was kind of bungled, so I just want to know the name of the agency you were with prior to joining CAA. Christian, McCann. And while working at CAA, have you always worked in the same location? Christian, in terms of city? Yeah. Christian, yes. And where was that? Christian, Los Angeles. Okay, and when you were at McCann, were you also in Los Angeles? Christian, no. Ms. Pindato, objection, asked and answered previously. Where were you? Christian, New York. And you're aware that this litigation involves a dispute between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, correct? Christian, correct. And you know both of these individuals, correct? Christian, correct. Okay, who did you meet first? Christian, Amber. And where did you meet her? Christian, I don't know exactly when, but probably within the first year of being at CAA. Okay, so can we as an estimate say 2005, 2006 time frame? Christian, sure. I actually don't know, but sure. Okay, but it is pretty early on in your career at CAA? Christian, correct. And describe for me the events of your meeting her. Christian, she was represented theatrically at the time by an agent named Warren Zavala, who has since left CAA. He brought her down to my office because he wanted me to represent her with him, specifically in the commercial space. And what do you mean represent her in the commercial space? Christian, help identify business opportunities for her with brands. Okay, so not just as an actor. Christian, correct. And did you take that representation? Christian, I did. And how would you describe when you first met her and she first met you? Would you say on personal level that you guys meshed? Mr. Pindato, I'm gonna keep doing that, so I apologize on a global scale. Miss Pindato, objection, vague. Mr. Darren, if you understand the question, you can answer. Christian, yes. Okay, I guess what I'm really trying to find out is, did you guys become fast friends? I mean, was your relationship friendly in addition to just business? Christian, yes. Okay, and how long did it take for your friendship to evolve into where you would say she's not just someone that I work with, but a friend? Ms. Pindato, objection, assumes facts, leading. Christian, I don't remember exactly how long, but relatively quickly. Okay, and at some point in time, did you consider her a friend in addition to you working together? Is that right? Christian, yes. And in that regard, did you do anything social? Christian, yes. And can you describe for me generally what types of activities you would do together as friends? Christian, we would. Ms. Pindato, objection, assumes facts. Go ahead. Christian, we would go to dinner, go to events together, hang out at each other's residences. And did you guys develop mutual friends that would hang out? For example, instead of just the two of you going to dinner, you'd go with a group of people? Christian, yes. Ms. Pindato, objection, leading. Mr. Darren, excuse me 1 second. Christian, pause and let the question be finished so that if there's an objection, it can be heard for the record. Christian, okay. Ms. Pindato, if you would just wait 2 seconds in between before answering, it's helpful. Christian, okay. The questioning continues. Do you recall the question or would you like it repeated? Christian, no, the answer was yes. Okay, and at some point in time after you were representing, let me ask you this. When Ms. Heard became what you would consider a friend, had you met Johnny Depp at that point? Christian, no. Okay, and at some point in time you met Mr. Depp, right? Christian, correct. Now, the estimate was, and I know it's not an exact estimate, that you started working with Ms. Heard in 2005-2006 timeframe. Do you have an estimate of when you met Mr. Depp? Christian, I don't know when it was, but it was soon after they started dating. Okay, do you recall that being sometime around 2011, 2012? Christian, I'm not sure. I'm not really good with dates, so I have no idea, but it was in around the time of filming Rum Diary, I believe. Okay, that's helpful. And can you describe the circumstances behind the first meeting Mr. Depp? Christian, I'm not sure I remember the first time I met him, but I believe it was a social event or an industry event that the three of us ended up going to together. And I'm sorry, okay, was it an event? Was it an event related to your representation of Ms. Heard? Christian, no. Okay, was it a separate social event? Christian, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the first time I met him was at some philanthropic event that Amber had an association with that Johnny accompanied her to. Okay, what was it your understanding that they were dating at that time? Christian, yes. Okay, and at some point, did you consider Mr. Depp a friend? Christian, yeah. And how did that relationship evolve? And I'm just talking about you and Mr. Depp becoming friends. Ms. Pendato, objection, vague. Christian, I spent a fair amount of time with both of them together, and at some point I started to spend time with him on my own as well. I see. And at some point in time, did Mr. Depp become a good friend to you as Miss Heard? Christian, yes. I'm sorry, let me re-ask that also. At some point in time, did you consider Mr. Depp a friend to the same degree you considered Miss Heard a friend? Christian, yes. And at some point, let me ask you, at some point in time, did you represent Mr. Depp professionally? Christian, yes. When did that start? Christian, I don't know the date. Okay, I have in my notes October 2016, but I'm not sure if that's in reference to when you first began working with Mr. Depp. Can you estimate that it was in around the time, or I would be off? Christian, to be honest, I don't know, but it's an easy thing to figure out if it's something that you need. I think it was October 2016 because that's Elaine really pushed that because she was all pissed off that he had a note in front of his face. Okay, Ms. Pendato. Belated objection. This was asked and answered at the last deposition. Questioning continues. And can you explain to me how it came to you representing Mr. Depp professionally? Christian, Johnny asked me to represent him. And after you began representing Mr. Depp, did you continue representing Miss Heard? Christian, yes. And do you recall who Mr. Depp's agent was prior to you? Ms. Pendato, objection, assumes facts leading. Christian, he was represented at another talent agency, UTA. In terms of, so maybe we can get a little bit more precise when you started representing Mr. Depp. Do you recall what project he was working on at the time you began representing him, or the first project that you obtained for him? Ms. Pendato, objection, sorry, objection, compound, assumes facts, lack of foundation, leading. Christian, he was in the middle of the Pirates franchise and he had a relationship with Dior. Okay, and do you happen to recall what pirate number? Christian, I do not. Okay, I think I know when that date is at some point, and on break I'll look at that, and we can get back to the next. Oh shit! Sorry guys, I'm gonna start that over. Okay, I think I know when that date is. At some point on break, I'll look at that, and we can get back to that exact date you began representing him. Was Miss Heard involved at all? If you know, when Mr. Depp's request that you represent him? Christian, I don't think so. Did you ever represent Miss Heard in connection with her as an actor? Christian, nope. And do you recall when you stopped representing Miss Heard? Christian, I don't know the date. Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. I think I have some documents that will help refresh your recollection. So at some point in time, did you consider both Mr. Depp and Miss Heard good friends? Ms. Pendato, objection. Christian, yes. Ms. Pendato, asked and answered. Mr. Darren, again, Christian, if you could okay. Questioning continues. And do you still work for Mr. Depp? Christian, I do not. Do you recall when you stopped working for Mr. Depp? Christian, within the last 2 years. And can you describe the circumstances of you no longer working for Mr. Depp? Christian, he left CAA to follow an agent who left CAA to become part of a founding group and a new management company. And who is that person? Christian, Jack Wiggum. Was Mr. Wiggum ever affiliated with CAA? Christian, yes. Okay, and you say that when Jack Wiggum departed CAA, Johnny went with him? Christian, yep. And do you know if Mr. Wiggum is still his agent? Ms. Pendato, objection, calls for speculation. Christian, I believe he's his manager, not his agent. Okay, got it. And when Mr. Wiggum was at CAA, did you work in tandem with him representing Mr. Depp? Christian, yep. And when Mr. Depp left CAA, did you remain friends with him? Christian, no. Okay, I should probably first ask, at some point in time, did your friendship with Mr. Depp end? Christian, yes. And when was that? Christian, I would say the time he left CAA. And did him leaving CAA have something to do with the end of the friendship? Christian, I don't know. Have you spoken with him since he left CAA? Christian, I have not. So you have not spoken with him in a couple years, is that right? Christian, yes. Ms. Pendato, objection, misstates the testimony. Are you still friends with Miss Heard? Christian, nope. And when did that friendship end? Christian, probably when the legal dispute started. And what legal dispute are you referring to? This one? Christian, I'm not sure which one was first, but one of the disputes between Johnny and Amber. Okay, but your friendship, you're not referring to their divorce, correct? Ms. Mandato, objection, misstates his testimony, leading. Christian, correct. Okay, so you remain friends with both of them through the divorce. Is that accurate? Christian, yes. Can you, giving you a point in time reference, their divorce was filed on May 23rd, 2016. With that in mind, can you estimate when your friendship ended with Ms. Heard? Christian, I don't know. Okay, do you have any estimate by year when your friendship ended with Ms. Heard? Christian, I don't know. Ms. Pendato, objection, calls for speculation, lack of foundation. Christian, I don't know. Okay, do you remain friends with Mr. Wiggum? Ms. Pendato, objection, assumes facts. Christian, could you repeat that question? Do you remain friends with Mr. Wiggum? Christian, I don't. Okay, although you are no longer friends with Mr. Depp, do you have any animosity towards him? Christian, I do not. And same question with respect to Ms. Heard. Although you're not friends with her anymore, do you have any animosity towards her? Christian, I do not. Do you recall when is the last time you spoke with Ms. Heard? Christian, I do not. Would it have been around the same time that your friendship ended with her? Ms. Pendato, calls for speculation. Christian, I would assume so. Okay, now I'm going to show you a document that pertains to your representation of Ms. Heard. Ms. Prezzato, Catherine, if you can pull up what I've sent to you as document 2. So they bring up document 2. Question. And while she's putting that up, Mr. Carino, you may recall your last deposition, you were shown documents. They'll appear on the screen. You can, to the extent it's necessary. If you answer the question, okay. But if you answer the question, I think you need to review the entire document to give full. Okay, no problem. Mr. Darren kicked in. Do we have an exhibit 1 mark? Oh, they're just going over exhibits. Okay, so they're just fighting over exhibits. Question. Now, Mr. Carino, you'll see at the bottom here, and tell me if you can see it. Do you see at the bottom, it has Bates stamp number under it, the yellow tag, Christian, yes. Okay, now my understanding is it's marked as such because it's part of the document that were produced by you in this case. Do you recall having assembled and produced documents in connection with this case probably a year or so ago? Christian, not really. Okay, well, I represent to you and can talk to your attorney about it at the break if you'd like. I'll represent to you that you did. In fact, I'm sure through the assistance of your attorney, produced 252 pages of documents in this case, and they were sent to us with base stamps, as you can see at the beginning was CC. So from our understanding, this document was produced by you. Do you recognize this document and take your time if you need to review it? Christian, yes. Okay, and do you understand this to be true and authentic copy of an email exchange in which you were involved? Christian, I believe so. Okay, and at the bottom of the email, let's start with the bottom of the email. It's from Ms. Heard. And do you see her email address? Do you recognize that to be her email address? Christian, I don't remember. Okay, so it's an email from her to you. Do you recognize that your email address is on the to line? Christian, yes. Okay, and you'll see it's dated January 11th, 2018. And the subject is WME. Do you know, what is your understanding of what WME is? Christian, Williams Morris Endeavor. And what is that? Christian, it's another talent agency. Okay, and you've read the email from Ms. Heard to you, correct? Christian, correct. And what is your understanding of her purpose of sending this email? Ms. Mandato, objection, speculative. Christian, she was asking me if I would be okay if she left and went to WME. Okay, and beyond this email exchange, did you have discussions with her about her leaving CAA to go to WME? Ms. Mandato, objection, calls for hearsay, leading. Christian, I'm sure we did post this. I'm sure we did post this email exchange. Okay, because you respond by saying, I want whatever you feel is best for you, but you believe that, and she responded, that means the world to me. But is your testimony that it's likely that beyond this email exchange that you guys had a conversation about one or more conversations about this subject? Ms. Mandato, objection, calls for speculation. Christian, yes. Okay, I want to focus on her email to you at the bottom. She says, hey, my love, I called you to talk to you about this. She says, hey, my love, is that an indication of the closeness of your friendship at that time? Ms. Mandato, objection, calls for speculation, leading. Christian, yes. So at this point in time, was she a close friend of yours? Christian, yes. Okay, she says, I would love to meet up and talk to you over a drink when you're available. Does that refresh your recollection of after this email exchange, you guys actually met face-to-face to discuss this issue? Christian, no, but I'm sure we did. Okay, I've been trying to see you talk. The question goes on. Okay, I've been trying to see you to talk in person, but it actually sometimes it's easier to write things these things. Anyways, either way, I want to see you soon. As you know, you're one of my dearest friends, and that's an accurate statement, correct? Ms. Mandato, objection leading. Christian, yes. I love you so much, and I treasure our friendship more than you know, and hope with every ounce of my soul that this does not affect it at all. What is your understanding of what she meant by this? Ms. Mandato, objection, speculation. Christian, where are you in this email? Christian, if you could blow it, they just want to blow it up a little bit. Ms. Mandato, I'm also going to object that this is an improper use of the document. Christian continues. Mr. Carino, can you see my cursor here? I'm circling it. Christian, yes. Okay, so I'm right there. It says, I love you so much and treasure our friendship more than you know, and hope with every ounce of my soul that this does not affect it at all. Do you know, what was your understanding of what she was referring to as this? Ms. Mandato, same objection. Christian, her asking if it would be okay if she left and went to WME. Okay, and what was your understanding of her reason for wanting to leave CAA and go to WME? Ms. Mandato, objection, calls for speculation, calls for hearsay. Christian, I think it was a combination of her being pressured by WME to go there and her feeling like it would be better if my professional relationship was not with both of them at the same time. Okay, and at this point in time, they were divorced, is that right? Christian, I don't know. Okay, do you know if at this point in time they were still together as a couple, January 2018? Ms. Mandato, objection, speculative, leading. Christian, I don't know. She says, I really need to get back to work and simplify my career by moving everything to WME. What is your understanding of what she meant by there? Ms. Mandato, objection, speculative. Christian, I believe at that time she had left CAA for William Morris theatrically, but had stayed with CAA commercially. And it says here, I want whatever you feel is best for you. Did you even try to dissuade her from leaving CAA? Christian, I don't believe so. Okay, and ultimately, did she leave CAA? Christian, yes. And it was at this time? Christian, yes. Ms. Preziato, you can take that down. Okay, they're just taking that down. Question. And one more question with respect to that document. It was dated January 2018. From what you read in there, did it refresh your recollection as to whether or not Mr. Depp was your client at that time of that email? Christian, he was. Okay, does that refresh your recollection as to how long after that he stopped being your client? Christian, nope. Okay, do you recall on the professional side, do you recall there being any problem with you representing both Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp at the same time during their joint representation? Christian, what do you mean by problems? To the fact that you were representing them both at the same time on a professional level, do you recall there being any problem with that? Ms. Bendiato, objection, speculation. Christian, nope. During the entire time you represented Ms. Heard, did Mr. Depp ever interfere with your representation of Ms. Heard? Objection, leading. Christian, no. Did he ever do anything? I'm sorry, strike that. Did he ever ask you to do anything with respect to her career? Ms. Bendiato, objection, leading, calls for hearsay. Christian, not that I can recall. There's been allegations in this case that Mr. Depp attempted to sabotage Ms. Heard's career. Did you experience anything that would validate that allegation? Ms. Mandato, objection, lack of foundation, leading. Christian, nope. Did you ever get a sense that Mr. Depp was attempting to destroy or sabotage Ms. Heard's career? Objection, lack of foundation, leading, calls to speculation. Christian, no. Okay, now Mr. Carino, I'm going to go through a whole series of text exchange, first as between you and Ms. Heard, and then ultimately we'll go to a text exchange between you and Mr. Depp. Again, keep in mind that, and I'll point out as well that the documents that have bait stamp CC on them are documents we received from you. This first document, and they're putting up the first document, document 3, okay. Okay, Mr. Carino, this particular document was not produced by you. You'll see that at the bottom here, the bait stamp indicates ALH. That means it was provided by Ms. Heard. And this appears to be a text exchange between you and her. It's about a page and a half. If you could take the time to read it, and then I'll ask you questions about it. Christian, can you scroll up a little bit? He's having trouble. Okay, Christian, okay, I've read it. And you'll see at the top, and I'll take control back, you'll see at the top, Mr. Carino, that it's dated July 14th, 2016. Based on that date and based on reading this text exchange, at this point in time, were you close friends with both Mr. Depp and Miss Heard? Christian, yes. And having read that text exchange, do you believe that this to be a true and correct representation of the exchange? Christian, yes. And it to be authentic in that regard? Christian, yes. Now, you start the text exchange by indicating JD just surfaced. Who is the JD reference? Christian, Johnny Depp. She says, what do you mean? And you say, he texted me back, told me he was on the road and gave me another number to call. It says here that he texted you back. Do you recall what you had first texted him about at this time? Christian, nope. Her response, did you try him? And you said, not yet, but earlier he texted me in the middle of the night. Having read this, does this refresh your recollection as to what Mr. Depp had texted you about? Christian, nope. And she says, I saw Laurel yesterday. Who is Laurel? Christian, Laurel is her therapist. Do you know her full name? Christian, Laurel Anderson. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay. And at this point in time, do you know who Laurel was a therapist for as to these parties? Ms. Mandato, objection, calls for speculation, assumes facts leading. Christian, she had seen, I don't know if it was all the time, but at some point she had seen both Johnny and Amber together and Amber separately. Okay. And did you independently know Laurel? Christian, yes. Do you have anything to do with Laurel seeing either Miss Heard or Mr. Depp? Christian, yes. And can you explain that to me, please? Christian, I introduced them all. And what was the purpose of you introducing her to them? Christian, they needed help. And can you explain to me in more detail what you mean by that? Christian, I think it was at that time they were needing someone to help mediate the difficulties they were having. And what do you mean by difficulties? Christian, the strains in their relationship. Okay, now if I will represent to you that Miss Heard filed for divorce from Mr. Depp on May 23rd, 2016. This email exchange is dated July 14th, 2016, some months later. Is that your understanding of the time frame here? Ms. Mandato, objection, leading, compound, vague. Christian, based on how I described it, yes. And how is that? Christian went on. Did you say filed as the date? I represented to you that divorce was filed on May 23rd, 2016. Christian, okay, you say filed, not finalized, right? Just filed, right? Just filed. Christian, okay. Thanks for clearing that up. Christian, sure. How is it that, and I'm sorry, did you say you introduced Laurel, the therapist, to one or both of them? Christian, yes. And did you make that introduction after the divorce had been filed on May 23rd, 2016? Do you recall? Christian, I don't recall. Okay, and were you requested by either party to help either one of them locate a therapist? Ms. Mandato, objection, leading. Christian, I think I offered Laurel to Amber to talk first. Okay, and that's because you understood that there was trouble in the relationship between Miss Heard and Mr. Depp. Objection, leading. Christian, yes. Do you recall her specifically asking you for therapist contact? Objection, speculative, calls for hearsay. Christian, no. Is that something that you would have offered either of them without being asked? Objection, calls for hypothetical, leading. Christian, yes. And in that regard, did you have conversations with Ms. Heard about the state of her relationship with Mr. Depp? Objection, calls for hearsay, leading. Christian, yes. And do you recall when those conversations began? Christian, no. Can you give me an amount of time that I'm trying to determine for how long a period of time did Miss Heard have conversations with you about the state of her relationship with Mr. Depp? Can you give me a time frame? Christian, I would say she talked to me about the state of their relationship from the beginning until the end. The entire time you knew her? The entire time that you considered her a friend? Christian, yes. Okay, and how about Mr. Depp? Did you have conversations with him about the state of his relationship with Miss Heard? Christian, yes. And were those ongoing during the entire time you were friends with him? Christian, yes. Okay, would you say they both confided in you in that regard? Christian, yes. So back to this text message. Where my cursor is, Miss Heard says to you, yeah, she said that Johnny and I needed to talk directly. Do you know who Miss Heard is referring to there? Objection, speculative. Christian, Laurel. And your understanding after reading this? Christian, yeah. And where my cursor is, she says to you, Miss Heard says to you, and the lawyers are indeed complicating things beyond what they need to be. Does that refresh your recollection as to the state, where they were in their divorce proceeding at that time? Christian, nope. Objection calls for speculation. I'm having the same problem you were having. Okay, here we go. And so he goes on. And then you ask her, do you want to do something tomorrow? She says, yeah. She says, IDP, I do. You say, okay. And then you say, what is safe to do? Do you want to come to my place for dinner? What do you mean when you mean what is safe to do? It's a really odd question. Christian, I meant avoiding paparazzi. Okay, and then she says, it's so fucked up. I just want to tell him that what they are telling him isn't true. What was your understanding of what she meant by that sentence? Objection calls for speculation, hearsay, and screwing up my client's case. Christian, can you repeat the question? Sure. She says, it's so fucked up. I just want to tell him that. I just want to tell him that what they are telling him isn't true. What is your understanding of what she's saying there? The same objection. Christian, I don't recall. Okay, I haven't asked for any money. I know they must be... What? I haven't asked for any money. Let's just pause on that for a second. She asked for 3 penthouses, a Range Rover, $50,000 a month, and for Johnny to keep paying for the 3 penthouses for the lifetime of the mortgage and all the bills associated with all of them, including her friends. And she also wanted him to pay all her attorney's fees. I never asked for money. Okay, back to this question. Okay, I haven't asked for any money. I know that they must be telling him that because that's what he's telling his friends, some of whom feel the need to go on Howard Stern to tell the world on his behalf. When Miss Heard says, I know they must be telling him because what he's telling his friends. Do you know what friends she's referring to there? Oh my God, that was a hot mess. Objection calls for hearsay, calls for speculation, and I really do say it was a bad question. Christian, I do not. And was it your understanding that Mr. Depp was telling his friends that she asked for money? Objection calls for hearsay, calls for speculation. Leading assumes facts. Christian, I do not. Did Mr. Depp ever tell you that? Objection calls for hearsay, calls for speculation. We don't want that getting out. Christian, did he tell me what, Leo? That she's asking for money. Same objections. Christian, yes. What did he say in that regard? Christian, I don't remember exactly. Same objection. Okay, Catherine, you can take that down. They're going to take a break. 10-minute break. So Mr. Darren, so Christian's lawyer said, yeah, I think that's fine for the 10-minute break. Can I ask you, I'm sure you're protecting the privacy of the deposition and you know all of the people are, but I don't know who Kathleen Zellner is. Is that from one of your offices? Mr. Preziato. Miss Zellner, would you like to introduce yourself? Christian, apparently not. Mr. Preziato, Miss Zellner? Miss Piniato, maybe you can just introduce her, Leo? So Leo goes on. Kathleen Zellner is an attorney that also represents Mr. Depp. Mr. Darren, that's fine. I just want to make sure it was someone associated with one of you. All right, okay. And they're back on the record. Okay, question. Mr. Carino, while she's doing that, she's just getting up the deposition. At the outset of this deposition, I asked you if you recall being deposed about a year ago in this case, and you said yes. Is that accurate? Christian, yes, it is. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is the transcript, a portion of the transcript from that deposition. Mr. Darren, are we back on the record? Yes. Mr. Darren, okay. I have a different copy. Oh, they had a different copy. Okay, so Mr. Carino, this is your transcript from your previous session of this deposition, a little bit over a year ago, that I'm going to direct your attention. Do you recall at that deposition that it was counsel for Ms. Heard that was asking you questions? Christian, yep. And that was Ms. Bredehoff. Do you recall that? Christian, I don't recall her name. Okay, I'll represent to you that it was Ms. Bredehoff's counsel for Ms. Heard. And if I can direct your attention to this page 151 at line 17, do you understand that question represents a question asked and the A represents your answer? Christian, yes. Okay, I'm going to read a portion of your testimony, questions and testimony at that time, starting at page 151, line 17. The question from Ms. Bredehoff. Is there any other rule or business opportunity that Mr. Depp has lost since you started representing him in October of 2016? And I'm saying, oh, and there's one more thing, Mr. Carino, and I'll start over. I'm not going to read the objections. I'm just going to read the questions and the testimony, okay? Question, okay. So let me start again, page 151, line 17. Mr. Darren, can you start above it? Because when you say, is there any other role, it implies he's already testified to have lost a role, so I think he needs the context. Or at least let him read it. Okay, so. And then there was an objection to that this is improper use of this document and leading. Mr. Carino, why don't you read to yourself lines 1 through 16, and then I'll ask you my question. Christian, okay, Leo, can you just blow it up? Yep, okay. Question, okay. And so the beginning of line 17, you were asked by Ms. Bredehoff, very touchy, you were asked, is there any other role or business opportunity that Mr. Depp has lost since you started representing him in October of 2016? And I'm saying, when I say other, I'm saying other than Fantastic Beasts 3 role and the Houdini opportunity. Your answer is, I would say yes. Next question, what? Answer, the next Pirates movie. The next question, do you remember which one that was? Your answer, 6, 7, I'm not sure what the number is. Ms. Bredehoff says, okay, it's 6. I think Pirate 6 is the one that's yet to come out. And why? What is your understanding of why Mr. Depp lost Pirate 6? You say, my opinion is that it was related to accusations that Amber Heard made. Now, when you gave that testimony a year ago, was it true and accurate? Ms. Mandato, objection, leading, go ahead. Christian, yep. And you sit here today, does it remain true and accurate? Christian, yep. Okay, let me go on. Next question. And what is your opinion based on is the question. Your answer, excuse me? Question, what is your opinion based on? Your answer, conversations with colleagues and studio execs. Question, I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you. Answer, conversations with studios and other executives, both internal and external. Question, when you say related to the accusations that were made by Amber Heard against Mr. Depp, are you talking about the accusations of DV and abuse on Mr. Depp? Your answer, yes. Okay, how many conversations have you had with studio and other executives? Your answer, I have no idea. Question, more than 5, more than 10? Your answer, I don't know about more than 10, probably between 5 and 10. Question, who do you recall speaking with at studios or other executives? Your answer, Jerry Bruckheimer, mostly Jerry Bruckheimer, then colleagues at CAA. Mr. Carino, you gave that testimony about a year ago. Was it true and correct when you gave it? Christian, yes. Does it remain true and correct today? Christian, yes. And who is Mr. Bruckheimer? Christian, Jerry Bruckheimer is the producer of Pirates franchise. Okay, and I'll go on. The next question by Ms. Bredehoff, counsel for Ms. Heard. When did you first have any conversation with Jerry Bruckheimer about Pirate 6 and Mr. Depp? I have no idea is your answer. Next question. Do you recall whether it was in 2016, 17, 18, 19? Answer, I don't know. When did you have any conversations with colleagues at CAA? Your answer, it would have been whenever the decisions were being made about how to cast the movie. I don't know what year that was. Question, do you recall who you spoke with at CAA? Answer, I spoke with Jack Wiggum. I spoke with Byron Lord. Mr. Carino, when you gave that testimony a year ago, was it accurate and truthful? Objection, leading, improper use of the document. Christian, yes. And does it remain accurate and truthful today? Christian, yes. And who is Mr. Wiggum? There's objection. Christian, Jack Wiggum was an agent at CAA who worked with Johnny. Okay, and who is Mr. Lord? Brian is one of the managing partners of CAA and also worked on Johnny Depp. Okay, I'll continue. Next question by Ms. Bredehoff. What do you recall Jerry Bruckheimer telling you? Answer, I don't recall the specific conversations, but the nature of it was that the studio was having difficulty employing him. Answer, that was your answer. Next, that was your answer? Who are you referring to as him? Christian, Johnny Depp. And when you gave that testimony a year ago, was it truthful and accurate? Christian, yes. Does it remain truthful and accurate today? Christian, yes. Okay, if I can continue reading, question by counsel for Ms. Heard. And did Mr. Bruckheimer tell you why the studio was having difficulty employing Mr. Depp? No, not your answer. No, not specifically, but it was understood. Question, did you ask? Answer, I didn't need to. Question, why did you think you didn't need to? Answer, because everyone was aware of what was garnering the attention of the studio and determining whether or not he could be employed. Question, when you say everyone was aware, how do you know that? Answer, I don't know that. I just knew. I don't know. I just knew. Question, can you tell me who everyone is? Can you tell me who everyone is? Your answer, the people who would have been involved in making the decision. And did any of them talk to you? Answer, what do you mean? Well, if I'm understanding you correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the only person at Disney that you spoke with about the pirates and employing Mr. Depp was Jerry Bruckheimer, correct? Christian's answer was yes. And you spoke between 5 and 10 times with Mr. Bruckheimer, and he did not say in any of those conversations, the reason we're not employing Mr. Depp is because Amber Heard's accusations of DV abuse and abuse by Mr. Depp, correct? Answer, that's correct. And then your counsel states objection, misstates his testimony, and he said he had conversations with colleagues and studio execs a total of 5 to 10 times. I don't think he said he spoke to Mr. Bruckheimer a total of 5 to 10 times. Your answer, Greg's right. When you gave that testimony over a year ago, was it truthful and accurate? Christian, yes. And does it remain truthful and accurate today? Christian, yes. And now I'm taking you to page 163 of your deposition transcript, beginning at line 4. Question by counsel for Ms. Heard. And your understanding from your discussions with Mr. Bruckheimer is that Disney had made the judgment to decide that they could no longer employ Mr. Depp. Is that correct? Your answer, yes, but not solely based on conversation with Mr. Bruckheimer. It was cumulative and with the internal and external conversations. Question, all right, what did Mr. Lord say that led you to believe that Disney had made the judgment that they were not able to employ Mr. Depp at Disney? Answer, just that a decision had been made. What did Mr. Wingham say? Christian, the same. Disney making the judgment of whether they would not be able to employ Mr. Depp further? Your answer, same thing. Question, okay, just that they made a decision. Your answer, correct. When you gave that testimony over a year ago, was it truthful and accurate? Christian, yes. Does it remain truthful and accurate today? Christian, yes. And what was your understanding of why the Pirate 6 job was not offered to Johnny Depp? Christian, Leo, are you asking my opinion? Christian, because of the accusations that Amber made. Then they go to number 17, exhibit. And what I'm about to show you, Mr. Carino, is an article in the Washington Post authored by Ms. Heard. You're going to notice that the article will be presented sideways, so you have to tilt your head a little bit to review it. Okay. First, Mr. Carino, why don't you take control and just scroll down the document, just a couple of pages. He's just looking at the page. Mr. Carino, have you seen this document before? Christian, yes. Do you know who wrote this document? Christian, yes. Who wrote the document? Christian, Amber. Amber Heard? Christian, yes. If I can have control back, okay. And do you see there on this first page of the document, it actually indicates that it's written by Amber Heard on December 18th, 2018. Christian, yes. And you understand that this document was authored by Ms. Heard and published on December 18th, 2018. Christian, yes. Okay, and do you recall reading it at the time that it was published? Christian, no. They're pulling up another exhibit. Now, Mr. Carino, I'm showing you an email exchange in which you were involved in. It's just this one page. I'll blow it up so you can review it. Take a second, review it, please. And let's start at the bottom of this. Well, do you see at the top that the email RE line is entitled Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow won't return in the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Christian, yes. And this email exchange was on December 20th, 2018, correct? Christian, correct. And do you recall that the article you just read published by Ms. Heard was published on December 18th, 2018, 2 days before this? Christian, yes. And now if you go to the bottom of this email, do you see there's a link to the article? Christian, yes. And it says URL defense. It says movieweb.com. Christian, yes. Pulling up another thingo. Now, Mr. Carino, what I put up next to the email exchange that we've been discussing is an article dated December 20th, 2018, which is headlined, Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow won't return in the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Disney chief Sean Bailey spoke about Disney's upcoming movie and the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot. Did I read that correctly? Christian, yes. And do you see up at the top, in this article that is on the right, I'll represent to you that is the link referenced at the bottom of the email. Is that your understanding as well of having received the email? Christian, I trust that it is, but I'd have to do it myself to tell you whether or not it's not. Okay, do you have any reason to believe that it's not the article? Christian, nope. Okay, so this article is dated December 20th, 2018, and the email sent to you by Robin Baum is the same day, December 20th, 2018, correct? Christian, yes. Who is Miss Baum? Christian, Johnny's publicist. Okay, and she's sending the article to you, is that right? Christian, yep. And then in response, you say, we were told this officially from Disney. He's asking the question, were we told this officially from Disney? And she responds, I'm sorry. Jack Wiggum responds, no. Is that accurate? Christian, yes. And who is Jack Wiggum again? Christian, Jack Wiggum was a motion picture talent agent at CAA at the time. And was he Mr. Depp's agent? Christian, yes. And then in this same email on the same date, you respond, what do we do? Do you see that? Christian, yes. Okay, so when you testified earlier that it was your opinion that Disney would not hire Mr. Depp for Pirate 6 movies because of Ms. Heard's allegations of abuse, is this what you were referring to? Christian, yeah. Could you clarify that question? Sure. So you testified just a few minutes ago that it was your opinion that Mr. Depp lost the Pirate 6 movie because of Ms. Heard's allegations. Is that accurate? Christian, yes. Assumes, okay, they're just objection. Allegations of abuse, correct? Christian, yes. And is this a demonstration of when Disney made that decision to not hire Mr. Depp for Pirate 6? Christian, yes. Okay, you can take those down, Catherine. Mr. Carino, we're going to go back to the email exchange between you and Ms. Heard that we started going through, but then I cut away to the last subject. So I'm going to go back to those emails, and we'll start with what I sent in this case document 4. Again, Mr. Carino, you'll see at the bottom that this document is bait stamped such that it indicates it was produced by Ms. Heard. Do you see that on the bottom right? Christian, yes. Okay, and again, why don't you, this is a 1 page, why don't you take control and review it? He reviews it. So you see, Mr. Carino, that this email exchange was on July 16th, 2016. Do you see that up at the top? Christian, yes. First, after having read this, do you believe this to be a true and accurate copy of that email exchange? Christian, I'm sorry. Is this an email or a text? Mr. Darren said it was a text exchange. Christian, I'm sorry, you're right. Text exchange. Okay, yeah. Question continues. Now, is dated July 16th, 2016. As I indicated before, I will represent to you that Ms. Heard filed for divorce on May 23rd, 2016. And I'll also represent to you that on May 27th, 2016, 4 days after filing for divorce, Ms. Heard filed for a TRO. Are you aware that Ms. Heard filed for a temporary restraining order at that time? Christian, yes. Did you ever see Mr. Depp physically abuse Ms. Heard? Christian, no. Did Ms. Heard ever tell you that she had been physically abused by Mr. Depp? Christian, no. Did Mr. Depp ever tell you that he had physically abused Ms. Heard? Christian, no. Did you ever witness any injuries on Ms. Heard that would indicate that she was physically abused? Christian, no. Okay, now again, this is a few months after the filing of the divorce papers and the TRO, and Ms. Heard states to you, I'll call you right back, sorry. And you say, Kay. She says, is it too late to call? And you say, just finishing dinner. We'll call you as soon as we walk out in 20. And then she says, please tell him I love him. Is that an accurate reading of the text exchange so far? Christian, yes. Was it your understanding that at this time, a few months after she filed the TRO papers, that she was still in love with Mr. Depp? Christian, Leo, you're asking my opinion? Yes, I'm asking your opinion based on experience and your relationship with the two of them. Christian, yes. And do you know if at that time, based on your relationship with Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp, whether Ms. Heard wanted to reconcile with Mr. Depp? Christian, yes. Is it your understanding that she did? Christian, yes. Now, during this time period, 2016, leading up to the filing of the divorce papers to the end of the year, did you have many conversations with Ms. Heard about the state of the relationship between Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp? Christian, Leo, I don't know the time frame, but likely yes. And regards to the time frame, did you and Ms. Heard have conversations, many conversations about her filing papers for divorce? Okay, he's strike that the question. He's always going to ask a different question. Did Ms. Heard, based on your personal friendship with Ms. Heard, close personal friendship with Ms. Heard, would you say that she confided in you? Christian, yes. Okay, Mr. Carino, at some point in time, after Ms. Heard filed those divorce papers in May of 2016, did she make any request of you to intervene in the relationship between her and Mr. Depp? Christian, what do you mean by intervene? Assist in. Let's start with assist in communications between the two of them. Christian, yes. Can you explain to me what transpired in that regard? Walk me through that. Christian, at some point around that time, she wanted me to arrange for them to get together in person. And what did you do after that was requested by you of Miss Heard? Christian, I talked to Johnny about it. And what did he say? What happened after that? Christian, he was reluctant at first and then agreed. Of course he was reluctant. Oh my God. And then what happened after that? Christian, I mean, this is a long time ago, but I remember there was a fair amount of discussion about the TRO and how we would deal with that because no one wanted Johnny accused of violating the TRO as an outcome of that meeting. And I don't remember exactly what we did, but Amber at some point warranted that she would never accuse him of violating the TRO to do the meeting, and I set the meetup. So, just so I understand, you set the meeting up at the request of Ms. Heard? Christian, yes. And as part of you setting it up, she told you that it didn't matter. Well, I'm trying to understand what was the issue with respect to the TRO? Christian, my understanding of the restraining order, at least at that time, was that he could not go in within a certain distance of her. Okay, and what was her suggestion with respect to that issue in connection with her wanting to meet with him? Christian, she promised me and told me to relay to him that she would never accuse him of violating the restraining order as a result of agreeing to meet her. And I believe, but I don't recall exactly, there were conversations with both sides legally, I believe at the time, to make it transparent to everyone that this was happening. Okay, and then what happened next? Christian, I arranged the meeting. Johnny was in San Francisco on tour, and I arranged to borrow a friend's house. And Amber and I flew to San Francisco and drove to the house, and Johnny showed up a few hours later. And did the two of them meet? Christian, yes. In the same room? Christian, they sat outside. Okay, how close to each other were they? Christian, inches away from each other. And you were there as well? Christian, I didn't sit with them outside. I sat inside. Were you there during any part of their conversation? Christian, no, not at the house. Okay, and how long were they out there talking? For how long were they out there talking? Christian, several hours. Although you weren't out there, were you in a position where you could see them through a window or otherwise? Christian, yep. And what was your impression of how the conversation went? Christian, sure, it was my impression that they reconciled. Okay, now at some point in time, the conversation ended, correct? Christian, correct. And what happened after that? Christian, I received a call or a text from Steve, whose house it was, and he notified me that he would be coming back to the house within the next hour or so. And I told Johnny and Amber, and we decided to rent a hotel room in San Francisco so that they could continue to talk. And did that in fact happen? Christian, it did. Do you recall what hotel it was? Christian, no. Was it in, when you say San Francisco, was that part of San Francisco? What part of it, San Francisco, do you recall? Christian, downtown somewhere. Okay, and what happened? So you left the house you were at. What town was that, by the way? Christian, I have no idea. Okay, was it north of the city, north of San Francisco? Christian, the house, I believe, was north of San Francisco, yes. Okay, and at some point in time, you left that house, correct, to go to San Francisco? Christian, yes. And was it the three of you? Christian, no. Johnny had security with him, and we talked about the fact that it would be a good idea for them to be seen together. So Johnny left with his security in his car, and I believe Amber and I took an Uber. And what happened after that? Christian, while Johnny was driving with his security, I believe the security guard made Johnny aware of an article that had been published, I believe during the time that they were at the house, that suggested that Amber was in a relationship with Elon Musk. Huh. Okay. And what happened after that? Christian, we all met at the hotel room. And do you know what happened after that? Christian, they started arguing. And do you recall any details of the argument? Christian, nope. And for how long was this argument that had in the hotel room? Christian, yes. Did you witness the entire discussion or did you leave the room at some point? Christian, I left the next morning at 5 o'clock in the morning or at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and then what happened after that? Christian, I left them with Johnny's security, who were there the entire time. And do you recall after that episode when you next spoke with either one of them? Christian, I'm sure I called them later in the day, but I don't actually remember. Okay, were you involved in any other attempts of reconciliation between the two of them? Christian, not like that. Nope. Okay. Were there any other efforts by Miss Heard to involve you in a potential reconciliation? Christian, I don't think so after that. About to move on to the next exhibit. They take a break. And they take a break. And they come back. Okay. So, again, Mr. Carino, I'm showing you emails that were produced by you. You'll notice the CC designation on the bottom right hand. On this particular email, it's several pages, but I'm not going to. It's quite a few pages. I'm not going to ask you about all of it. So how about if we just go through it piecemeal? I think that'll make it quicker, although let me see. First, the bottom of the first page, it starts at the bottom of the first page. The starting above, it was redacted. And you'll see that it starts on August 7th, 2017. Do you see that? Christian, August 7th, 2016, yes. August 7th, 2017. Thank you. Okay. And then an email to you that says, I wrote the note, and then it says, are you in LA? And do you see the little CC above the blue bubble? Christian, I do. It says, yes, Malibu. I'm official till Thursday, Friday, Vegas. What does the CC indicate to you having read this? Christian, I misread it. Okay, regardless of what it says, what does the CC indicate that I'm circling with my cursor? Christian, I assume that it means it's from me. Yeah, this was produced by your office, so yeah, I would agree. Now, can you tell by what we've read so far is who is the speaker in, or who is the texture in the gray bubbles? If you need more reading of it, I can turn it over control. Okay, having read it, can you determine who you were speaking with in this text exchange? Christian, Amber. And she is in gray bubbles? Christian, yes. Okay, so she asked you, are you in LA? You said, yes, Malibu, in the office till Thursday, Friday, Vegas. She says, dealing with breakup. I hate when things go public. See, I'm so sad. And again, this email exchange is on August 7th, 2017. What was your understanding of what she meant by dealing with breakup? Christian, I'm assuming it's referring to breaking up with Johnny. Okay, have you read the entire document? Christian, I skimmed it, but do you want me to read it through? Hang on, let me ask you this. Do you know whether or not Miss Heard had ever had a relationship with Elon Musk? Christian, yes. Christian, she did. Christian, yes. Okay, do you know whether or not her reference to dealing with the breakup is a reference to Mr. Musk? And if you need to review more of the document, please do so. Answer that question. Christian, can you give me control back? Question, have you determined who she's referencing with respect to the breakup? Christian, yes. And who is that? Christian, Elon Musk. Okay, so again, it's dated August of 2017, and she says, dealing with breakup, I hate when things go public. See, I'm so sad. Having reviewed the document again, do you have an understanding of what she's referencing there? Christian, I believe she's referencing to breaking up with Elon. Okay, do you know what she's referring to when she says, I hate when things go public? Or what is your understanding of what she was referring to? Christian, I don't know. Okay, you said, seems like a press release. You weren't in love with him, and you told me 1,000 times you were just filling space. What are you saying there? Christian, I'm saying, why would you be sad if you weren't in love with him to begin with? And by him, who are you referring to? Christian, Elon. Okay, and at this point in time, were you still close friends with Miss Heard? Christian, it looks like that's the case at that time, yes. And did she still, at this point in time, did she confide in you about her relationships? Christian, yes. Okay, and you respond, I'm sorry. She responds, I know, but I wanted time to grieve and recover in my own time. Is she still referring to Mr. Musk there, do you know? Christian, I don't know whether she is referring to Johnny or Elon at this time. Okay, at this point in time, do you know what her feelings were? What was your understanding at this point in time? What was your understanding based on your experiences with her? What your understanding of her relationship with Mr. Depp? Christian, I don't believe there was a relationship at that point. What was your understanding of her feelings of Mr. Depp at this point? Christian, I mean, my opinion is that she still had feelings for Johnny. And around this point in time, did she ask you to do anything to put them in contact? Christian, I don't remember. Okay, and then you say, and you got that, no? She says, I hate that. Yet again, a man lets me fall on the spikes by myself. You ask, how so? She says, oops, meaning they are mad at me for leaving them and put things like this out there. You say sorry. She says like that. You say, you could avoid all this if you stop dating uber famous people. You can be with a big man who isn't famous. Well, what are you relating to her there? Christian, I believe what I was saying was, if you don't like being in the press about your personal life, then don't date people that are famous. Did you have an understanding? I'm sorry, what is your perception, one way or the other, whether she sought to date famous people? Christian, no. Have you known her to date anyone who's not famous? Christian, I think during the time that we were friends, the only two relationships that I was privy to are Johnny and Elon. Okay, and you can't think of any other famous people she dated while you were friends with her? Famous people? Christian, nope. How about relationships with, other than dating, but intimate nonetheless? Christian, what are you asking me, Leo? I'm asking you if you, while you were close personal friends with her and she confided in you, if you became aware of a relationship she had with a famous person. And by relationship, I don't mean just dating, any relationship other than Mr. Musk or Mr. Depp. Christian, not that I can recall, no. Okay, did she ever confide with you that she had a relationship, intimate or otherwise, with James Franco? Christian, she did not. Do you see here that she says she's devastated and wants to give up? Christian, what's the question, Leo? Do you see where it says, I'm devastated and want to give up? Christian, yes. And you respond, why are you devastated if ended it and you weren't in love? And she says, I'm devastated because my only chance of surviving another year with him would mean not being with him. Nothing has ever broken my heart more than losing JD, and it has always been that way. What was your understanding of who she is referring to in the first bubble that she refers to another year with him would mean not being with him? That makes no fucking sense. Christian, I believe she was referring to Johnny. So another year with Elon means another year without Johnny. Okay, I think I got it. If I didn't get it, correct me, please. Question, okay, and you say you never really grieved him because you moved on immediately. Who is the him you're referring to? Christian, Johnny. And what do you mean by you moved on immediately? Christian, she started dating Elon. So when you testified previously to the attempted reconciliation in San Francisco and you referred an article indicating that she was dating Elon, is that what you're referring to? Christian, Leo, can you re-ask that question? Sure. You indicated that she moved on immediately after JD to date Elon Musk. Is that accurate? Christian, yes. Okay, and you also testified previously that there was an article at the time of the attempted reconciliation in San Francisco published that Elon Musk and Amber were in fact dating. Is that also right? Christian, I don't know if that's an article or whether it was paparazzi series of photographs on, a gossip site. I don't know what it was, but it placed them together. And in fact, was it your understanding of whether or not Ms. Heard and Mr. Musk were, in fact, dating during the time of the San Francisco reconciliation that she had asked you to set up? Christian, can you re-ask that question, Leo? Sure. Do you have an understanding one way or the other whether Ms. Heard and Mr. Musk were, in fact, dating at the time of the San Francisco reconciliation that she asked you to set up? Christian, I don't know whether they were dating, but they had definitely spent time together. Okay, and do you know how long after the San Francisco attempted reconciliation you gained the understanding that Elon Musk and Ms. Heard were, in fact, dating? Christian, I don't know exactly how long, but not long after. Okay, so as the time of the San Francisco reconciliation that Ms. Heard asked you to set up, it was your understanding that Mr. Musk and Amber Heard were seeing each other, and shortly thereafter, you became aware that they were, in fact, dating. Is that an accurate summary of your testimony? Christian, no. Can you correct me where I'm wrong and restate? Christian, yes. I did not know at the time I was setting up the meeting that she was spending time or seeing or dating anyone else. Okay, but shortly after the attempted reconciliation in San Francisco that Miss Heard asked you to set up, you gained the understanding that she was in fact dating Mr. Musk. Is that correct? Christian, can you repeat the question, Leo? Okay, okay, and so he just said yes. He said yes. Okay, let me take you to, and here at the email, the text exchange continues, and Miss Heard says to you, I'm dead at heart and I don't blame anyone. And you respond, no, you're not. You still miss the feeling of being in love. You just act like you don't, but that's what you want. She responds, but you continue to say you certainly aren't dead at heart. She says, I love him, and then I love Jim, and then corrects it to him. And you say, who is Jim? And they then laugh, and then they all laugh. They all have a little giggle. Do you know what was your understanding of who she was referring to when she said, I love him? Christian, Johnny. Okay, and again, this text is from August 7th, 2017, correct? Christian, you'd have to show me the date stamp. I'll just make that representation just to save time here. Okay, and continues here. You say, what a great book it would be to have a text exchange like this one where someone mistypes. How fucking hysterical, and it happens all the time. She says, please ask him, otherwise known as Jim, to list to Siren Song. That's all I ask. You say, listen, you mean? Now back to her text bubble where she says, please ask him, otherwise known as Jim. Who is she referring to there? I'm sorry, what is your understanding of who she's referring to there? Christian, Johnny. And what is she asking you to do in that regard? Christian, she's asking me to ask him to listen to a song. What's your understanding of what she was asking you to do that? Christian, I don't know. I assume it meant something to both of them. Okay, based on this exchange, do you have an understanding at this time whether Miss Heard wanted to reconcile with Mr. Depp? Christian, I believe she did. Okay, at this point in time, was she still a close personal friend of yours, correct? Christian, yes. And at this point in time, did she consider you a confidant to your understanding? Christian, I think, yes. Okay, and did you see here where she says, see, do you ever think we could speak again? What is your understanding of who she's referring to there? Christian, Johnny. And you say, I don't know, honestly. And she responds by saying, I don't know how to ever survive. Haven't heard from you. Do you know what's your understanding? Oh, this is a horrible question. What is your understanding what she was referring to when she says, I don't know how to ever survive? Christian, Leo, that question again? Sure. She says here to you, I don't know how to ever survive. What was your understanding of what she was saying to you there? Christian, I mean, my opinion was that she was saying, I don't know how to move on without ever talking to him again. And him being who? Christian, Johnny. Okay. Actually, Mr. Carino, okay, then they put up another exhibit. Actually, Mr. Carino, this document is short enough where it probably makes sense for you to just read it through. So I'll ask Catherine to give you control. Okay, just to authenticate this document again, Mr. Carino, do you see that it's referenced at the bottom, bait stamp CC, indicating that you produced this document? Christian, yes. And after having read this, do you perceive that this is a true and correct copy of a text exchange between you and Miss Heard? Christian, yes. Okay. And do you see at the very top here, it's dated August 16th, 2017? Yes. And Miss Heard states, I've written so many notes. Can you give him one? I don't know or where to start. There's no way to begin, and all I have to say, but I have so many. Finally, I am single, clear in my heart and mind. I just want him to know I love him and that I'm sorry. Do you have an understanding of who Miss Heard is referring to? Christian, yes. And who is Miss Heard referring to in this text? Christian, Johnny. And what is she asking you to do here? Christian, she was asking me to deliver a letter that she was writing to him. Okay, and does she also want you to? And it says, and that I'm sorry. What was your understanding what she was asking you to do there, if anything? Christian, I believe was all in reference to getting him a handwritten letter that she was writing or trying to write. Okay, did Miss Heard ever state to you that she had been physically abusive to Mr. Depp? Christian, Leo, can you repeat the question? Sure. At any point in time, during your close friendship with Miss Heard, did she ever confide in you and indicated that she had been physically abusive to Mr. Depp? Christian, no. Did she ever indicate to you that she had been, and maybe not, maybe strike that, did she ever confide in you that she had hit or punched or done anything physical to Mr. Depp? Christian, I don't think so, no. Okay, and then you say, of course, and then she says, address? And you sent her an address, correct? Christian, yes. And what address is that? Christian, that's the CAA office address. Your office address, correct? Christian, correct. Okay, then we jump to, or this email text stream jumps to August 24th, 2017. Do you see that? Christian, yes. And she says to you, hey there, are you back in LA? You say, just left, in Chicago and then New York. Are you in LA? She says, in Australia. You say, oh, when are you coming back? She says, October 15th. And you say, when can I talk to him? What was your understanding of who she's referring to as him in that text? Christian, Johnny. And during that at this time, August 24th, 2017, had you been doing anything to attempt to arrange for them to talk? Christian, no. And is she asking you here to do that? Is it your understanding that she's asking you to do that? Christian, yes. Okay, she says, no, I'm sorry. You said, I thought you were sending a letter. And she says, I don't feel comfortable sending to your office. Also a little worried that if he gets it now, it will seem like I'm doing so because of my breakup with Elon. What is your understanding of what she is relating to here? Christian, I believe she's suggesting that he would question her authenticity because of the timing of breakup with Elon and then reaching out for him again. Okay. And so did you proceed with attempting to set up communications between Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp? Christian, nope. And was it your understanding at that time, August 24th, 2017, that Ms. Heard was attempting to reconcile with Mr. Depp? Christian, one more time, Leo. Was it your understanding at that time, this text exchange, August 24th, 2017, that Ms. Amber was attempting to reconcile with Mr. Depp? Christian, I believe so. Okay, and I know this may sound repetitive, but at the time of this text, on August 24th, 2017, you and her were still close personal friends, correct? Christian, I believe so. And she confided in you at that time, correct? To your understanding? Christian, yes. And then they put up another exhibit. Question. Well, there's not much here at all, Mr. Carino, but I did want you to confirm that this was a document produced by you, correct, based on the date stamped at the bottom? Christian, yes. And do you see it's dated September 27th, 2017? Christian, September 23rd. Oh, you're right. My apologies. It's dated September 23rd, 2017. And it's a text to you that says, God, I miss him. Do you have an understanding of who Ms. Heard was referring to there? Christian, yes. And who's that? Christian, Johnny. Okay. As of September 23rd, 2017, was it your understanding that Ms. Heard was attempting to reconcile with Mr. Depp? Christian, I don't know at that point. Okay, you can take that one down, Catherine. Thank you. They put up another one. Okay, again, Mr. Carino, this is a document base stamped with the CC indicating that you produced this in the case. Is that your understanding? Christian, yes. Okay, and do you see at the bottom of the date of the text, it's June 9th, 2018? Christian, yes. Okay, and it says, I text him happy birthday. Do you know who sent that and who the him is? Christian, I assume this is from Amber and she's talking about Johnny. Okay, and then she says, didn't go through, probably for the best, but thought it was the right thing to do. Wanted to let you know, love you. You give a smiley face. She says, love you. You say, are you okay? She says, yeah, I'll be okay. And you ask, what's wrong? She says, what was a hard day or two? You know how it goes. Do you know what she is referring to when she says was a hard day or two? How that goes? What is your understanding of what she's saying there? Christian, I don't know. And that it was dated on June 9th, 2018. Was it your understanding that as of that time period, Ms. Heard was attempting to reconcile with Mr. Depp? Christian, I don't know. Okay, Mr. Carino, do you have a recollection of attempting to set up a meeting between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard in Santa Monica? Does that refresh your recollection at all? Christian, I don't recall. Okay, he just wanted to know if Amber's side had any questions for him today. Okay, so they put up another exhibit. Mr. Carino, we've gone through what you've sent to us with respect to your text communications with Miss Heard. You also sent to us your text communication with Mr. Depp, and I want to ask you some questions about those as well. Now, what I have up, what I wanted to show you was at the bottom. It has a bait stamp CC. Do you understand this to be a document that you produced in this case? Christian, yes. This was, why don't you take your time reading through this? And I think that's the best way to do it. Take your time. I'm sorry. Now that you've had a chance to review this whole document, Mr. Carino, what does this appear to be? Christian, it appears to be the communications around the time that we set up the meeting in San Francisco. And who are those communications between? Christian, me and Johnny. Okay, on this first bubble, can you tell me that if the blue is you or Mr. Depp? Christian, I think the blue is me. Okay, and it's dated March 14th, 2006. Christian, 2016. You're right, March 14th, 2016. And part of it's redacted. But do you see where it says to Amber, let's get together tomorrow, plan Wednesday? What? Let's get together and plan tomorrow, Wednesday. Peace. What were you relating to Mr. Depp there? Christian, I don't know what that was. I just can't tell you because the place that's cut above, so I don't really know. Okay. And then below that, the date exchange to April 19th, 2016. And then it says, do you want to do something for Amber's birthday this weekend together? And then it jumps to Saturday, April 30th, 2016. Hey, just wanted you to know that if I can help with Amber, I am here for you. What are you relating to Johnny, Mr. Depp there? Christian, I mean, to be honest, I don't remember what was happening at that exact moment, but just offering to, if there's anything that I could do. Okay, so you're not certain. You're not certain what precipitated what you're saying here. Christian, correct. Okay, and then he responds, thanks, pal, weird shit. You say, the three of us are all in New York City this week. If you want to go to dinner and try to sort it out, I would set it up. Set it up for if you want. And Mr. Depp says, no, I think the proverbial dookie has hit the fan this time. Thanks anyway. Big mucho, JD. Does that refresh your recollection of what you and Mr. Depp are talking about here? Christian, I honestly don't remember what was happening at that point. Okay, you say, let me try. Okay, for me to try? He says, I wouldn't bother my brother. It's sad, but necessary. Again, does that refresh your recollection at all? Christian, no, I honestly don't know what the point of this is in the timeline. Okay, now it jumps to May 4th, 2016. Do you see that? Christian, yes. And it says, hey, first of all, it's a green bubble. Do you know who wrote this part, this green bubble at 3:31 a.m.? Christian, me. Okay, it says, hey, she's really in pain. I've seen her hurting before, but not like this to the point where it scares me. She's completely devastated. I know this isn't my place to say this, but she needs you to be there for her, regardless of whether you guys stay together or not. She needs you as a friend and as a husband to get her through. I know you love her and would do anything to protect her. She needs you now. I love you both. We can talk today if you want. Please just reach out to her, find peace for each other, whether it means together or apart. Love each other through the process. Please, JD, my friend. Love you. C. Can you explain what you're relating to Mr. Depp there? Christian, I don't remember what was going on then. Okay, does it refresh your recollection at all if I indicate or if I remind you that this was sent on May 4th, 2016, and Amber filed the divorce papers on Miss Heard filed her divorce papers on May 23rd, 2016? Christian, no. Okay, when you say, hey, she's really in pain, what type of pain are you referring to? Christian, emotional pain. Okay, then I'm skipping down to May 5th, 2016, and it's from Mr. Depp, and it says, what can I do, brother? I want to do anything to take away her pain. I'd literally do fucking anything for her, especially from hurting, though words on the street from New York City says she's all smiles, even begged a meeting with Ralph Lauren. All irony. He says, let me know, JD. You say, I will call her later today. What city are you in? And just tell me you still love her. Can you explain this conversation? Christian, not really. No, I honestly don't know what's going on at this point. Okay, and he goes on to say, I'm in London, and of course I love her. I would kill for her. At this point, I'm just not so enthused about dying for her over such ludicrous and petty wars. Okay, when you say, okay, when are you coming home? I will get you together. Mr. Depp says, I'm here until around the 15th and then in LA for like 2 days and then off for rehearsal and vampire tour. What the fuck is her deal, man? Did she tell you why we are where we are? Does that refresh your recollection at all as to what he's conveying to you? Christian, nope. What does he mean, or what is your understanding of him saying, I'm off for rehearsal and vampires tour? Christian, what does he mean by that? It means he's in rehearsal for his band. Is that the reference to vampires? Christian, yes. Okay, did you represent him in connection with his band endeavor, the Vampires? Christian, we did, yes. Okay, and earlier on in your deposition, when you referenced that you represented actors and musicians, were you referring to Mr. Depp as one of those? Christian, can you repeat that, Leo? Sure. Earlier in your deposition, at the very outset, I was asking about your representation of individuals at CAA. You indicated that you represent individuals that are both actors and musicians. Would you consider Mr. Depp in that pool? Christian, yes. And you represented, or CAA represented him in both his acting endeavors and his involvement with the vampires? Christian, yes. And the full name of that is the Hollywood Vampires, is that right? Christian, yes. And do you recall how much time he allotted to his participation in Hollywood Vampires as opposed to acting? Christian, I would say relatively small percentage. Attributable to the vampires or acting? Christian, small in reference to vampires. Okay, did Amber Heard ever discuss with you her feelings with respect to his participation and involvement in the Hollywood Vampires band? Christian, no. Do you ever recall Miss Heard complaining about Mr. Depp's participation in the Hollywood Vampires? Christian, no. And was Mr. Depp's participation in the Hollywood Vampires lucrative? Christian, no. Do you know whether or not he was something Mr. Depp enjoyed? Christian, yes. Now you say, yeah, I've heard the story. I'm sure there are two versions. Here's what I know. You both love each other. You both need each other. You both need to change some behaviors if you want to be together. Simple as that. What are the 2 days that you will be in LA? When you state here, you both need to change some behaviors. What behaviors were you referencing with respect to Miss Heard? What behaviors did you believe she needed to change? Christian, I don't remember. Okay, Mr. Depp says, I'm back on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, but there will be no need for any of this at this point. I can only imagine what her version is, but I'm not going to live my life the way that I've been. You say, relax, give me a minute. I'm going to get you guys to talk today, but you need to see each other sooner than that, but let's cross that bridge later. Now, your attempts here to get them to speak, were your attempts at that request of Miss Heard? Christian, I don't remember. Okay, and at the bottom of the page, Mr. Depp says to you on May 7th, whatever, mate. You respond by saying, haven't gotten her yet. I'll let you know as soon as I do get her, but can't get through on your call. Call me. And then on May 11th, 2016, Mr. Depp texts you, hey, tried you, change of heart. Are you still up to talk with her? Peace. And you say, well, actually, Christian, that's all me. That's not him. Okay, thank you. Hey, tried you, change of heart. Are you still up to talk with her? What are you relating to him here? Christian, I don't know. It doesn't look like I'm having a conversation with anybody but myself at that point. Okay, and it appears that that's the case until actually, it appears that's the case for a while here. And then it jumps to July 14th, 2016. And it says Johnny Depp here. And he says, hey man, on the road with the vampires, new number is, and the number's redacted. Hope you are well, JD. And you respond, it looks like 3 hours later, you say, okay, we'll try you later. Peace. Tried you, Christian. Spoke to Amber. This is you, spoke to. Actually, this is the new day, July 15th, 2016. And does this indicate, the CC here, does this indicate that this is your text to her, to him? Christian, yes. Okay, and it says, spoke to Amber, let's set this up. She's happy to come to San Fran if that makes most sense. Send me your travel schedule and we'll figure it out. Peace. What are you relating to him here? Christian, it looks like this is when the meeting actually gets set up in San Francisco. Okay, so this is July 15th, 2016. Does this refresh your recollection when the idea of setting up a meeting between them, as requested by Miss Heard, got some traction from Mr. Depp? Christian, yes. And you say, and she asked me to tell you that she loves you. Was that a true statement? Christian, yes. Okay, now the next email is July 16th, 2016. And Mr. Depp saying, hey, Christian, here are the travel plan and show date of San Francisco. If you have any questions, hit me up. Hope all well, brother JD. And then there's 2 paragraphs. What's Mr. Depp relating to here? Christian, he's taking photographs of the tour booklet, which is the routing and the schedule for the band. Okay, what does this indicate to you with respect to his willingness to meet with Miss Heard in San Francisco, as Miss Heard has requested you to facilitate? Christian, it indicates that he's agreeing to set up a meeting. And you say, got it, we'll figure this out and come back to you shortly. Peace. He says, sure thing, JD. You respond by saying, looks like Thursday. I have a friend who has a house outside the city, so we can probably use that as a meeting spot. You testified previously that San Francisco meeting started at your friend's house north of San Francisco. Is that what you're referencing here? Christian, yes. And then Mr. Depp says, hey man, thanks. I'm in Detroit. I got a fuckload of meet and greets, and then about an hour before I go on stage post meets. You and I need to speak before anything like this happens. I'll call you before the show. Did you, in fact, have a conversation with Mr. Depp in this regard? Christian, I don't remember. You say, okay. He says, cool, speak in a bit. Then he says, just got off the stage, brother, already on the bus. I'll give you a bell within the next hour if that's good for you. You say, okay, we'll be up for about an hour. And then he says, it looks like about 30 minutes later, you good for a call? You said, yeah. He says, ringy dingy. You say, give me 10 minutes, we'll call you. He says, you got it. You say, sorry, we'll call you shortly. Tried you, got voicemail. Try me, and then it stops there. Do you recall actually having a call with him at this time? Christian, I don't. Okay, now this jumps to July 17th, 2016, so it's the next day, and Mr. Depp says, hey man, just got off the stage and on bus. Let me know when a good time to hit you. And you said, okay, I will text you when I get back to my apartment. My phone is there. Will be about 30 minutes or so. Hope show was good. Mr. Depp responds by saying, show was great, thanks, speak then. Then you said, calling now. And then the next text isn't until the next day, July 18th. Do you know whether, in fact, you had a conversation at the end of this text? Christian, on the 17th? Christian, I don't remember. Okay, then it goes to the next day, July 18th, 2016. You say, will do my best. You both deserve a different ending. Love you both. And he says, you're a gem, brother. Love you too. Jay. Does this refresh your recollection as to what you both were talking about in this exchange? Christian, I mean, I assume this is leading up to the meeting in San Francisco. Okay, so then the text jumps. The text jumps to the July 19th, 2016. You say, okay, have a plan. Call me when you have a few minutes. Peace on for Thursday. And Mr. Depp responds, hey man, okay, time to call. Where is it out of the office? You say, call me in 5, just tried you. Mr. Depp responds, on it, trying you back. Lost my whore of a phone. I'm forced to use the computer as such, hitting you back. I'll continue here in a second, but I wanted to interject. Would you describe Mr. Depp's sense of humor as unique? Christian. Oh, Christian says, Leo, I'm not sure what you're asking exactly. Did you find Mr. Depp to be humorous? Christian, yes. Okay, would you say maybe jokes isn't the word, but he did say a funny thing often? Christian, yes. Would you say he had a good sense of humor? Christian, yes. Okay, would you say that's what I meant? So do you have an understanding of when someone has a good sense of humor? Do you have any understanding of when I ask you if it was your impression or experience that he had a unique sense of humor? Christian, I don't know how to determine whether someone's sense of humor is unique or not. Okay, if I were to ask you, well, let me ask you, how would you describe his sense of humor? Mr. Depp's. Christian, witty. Anything else? Christian, nope. Okay, did he ever, in your experience, say things that were over the top in an attempt to be humorous? Christian, he definitely said things that were over the top. Whether or not they were humorous or not is subjective, I guess. Would you say that him saying things that were over the top were part of his sense of humor? Christian, yes. Okay, and when would you say when he would say things over the top in a humorous manner, would you characterize sometimes that he said was macabre? Christian, I don't know what that word means. Okay, well, you can't answer the question. Let's move on, okay? Christian, or we can do that all again. Maybe the question was macabre, so here we are. And Mr. Depp goes on to say, on it, trying you back, lost my horror of a phone, and I'm forced to use the computer as such, hitting you back now. You say, love you no matter what. We're going to move forward with love, whether you guys find a way to stay together or separate. That's all. That's for all the nice things you said. I'm sorry. Thanks for all the nice things you said. I know I met you and Amber for a reason. Call you later. Peace. What are you relating to Mr. Depp there? Christian, I don't know. What was the date of the meeting in San Francisco? I'm not sure if you testified to that. Maybe reading through this email you recall. Christian, Leo, what's the question? They lost the question. Okay, this is still part of your attempt to facilitate Ms. Heard's request that you arrange a meeting from them to attempt to reconcile, correct? Christian, yes. Okay, and when we go to July 21st, 2016, and maybe this will help you pinpoint when the meeting was. Let's see. Again, this is July 21st, 2016, and Mr. Depp at 1:55 on that day says, I'll keep you apprised of my whereabouts, waiting for the car to pick me up and stop by the hotel on my way. You say, okay, address is above, and there is an address. Do you see that? Mill Valley address? Christian, yes. We won't. Okay, they just want a location. Okay, and so now we're on July 21st, and your reference the address above on July 21st. Does this seem to indicate that he's traveling to that location for the meeting? Christian, yes. Does this refresh your recollection as to when the meeting actually took place? Christian, yep. July 21st. Okay, July 21st, 2016, correct? Christian, correct. I just want to know how they're doing on time. Okay, I've only got 9 minutes and I have a lot to cover. So let me get to the important stuff. So now we're at July 23rd, 2016, after the date of the San Francisco meeting that you set up on behalf of Ms. Heard. And Mr. Depp indicates text of the following. Hey man, wanted to thank you for everything. It was very caring and kind of you to put that all together. You're a damn good man with a good heart. How is she feeling post-conversation? I need to speak with her so that we're both on the exact same page with regard to lawyers, etc. Whatever is to be done must be done in concert. Very important. Not sure if she has my number. Christian, it appears that he's thanking me for getting them together and asking some to be in touch with her again. Do you have any understanding what he means by we're both so much on the exact same page with regards to lawyers, etc.? Christian, what's the question, Leo? The question is, do you have an understanding of what he was referring to when he said, and if you can see my cursor, Christian, yes, so that we're both on the exact same page with regard to lawyers, etc.? Christian, I believe he means in proceeding with the divorce. Okay, do you have a recollection of any conversations you had with Ms. Heard after this attempted reconciliation as to her feelings on how it went? Christian, not really. Have you had any discussions with Ms. Heard about this lawsuit? Christian, no. Have Ms. Heard's attorneys in this lawsuit ever attempted to contact you? Christian, nope. When you received the subpoena, which resulted in you producing the documents that I've been asking you about today, did you have any conversations with Ms. Heard's attorneys? Christian, no. And can you explain to me what you did in attempting to gather all the documents that they had requested? And I caution you not to reveal any conversations you have with your attorneys because those are privileged. So aside from any discussions you had with your attorneys, do you recall what you did to find or gather the documents that had been requested? Christian, I actually didn't gather them. The office did. Okay, and by the office, you meant people at CAA? Christian, yes. Do you recall receiving them before they were sent? Christian, yes. Have you been asked by any attorneys in this case to appear at the upcoming trial in this case? Christian, not directly. Are you aware that the trial takes place on the East Coast in Virginia? Christian, yes. If you were asked to attend that trial, would you be able to answer that question without first discussing it with your attorney? Christian, which question? I asked you if the attorneys had asked you to attend the trial. Has any party to this litigation asked you to attend the trial? Tristan, Greg, I don't know how to answer that. Mr. Darren said, so his lawyer, I think the question is whether Mr. Depp or Ms. Heard has asked you to attend the trial. Christian, no. Okay, I think that might have answered this. But did you have any discussions with either Ms. Heard or Mr. Depp in preparation for this session of your deposition? Christian, I did not. And without telling me what was said between you and your attorney, did you spend any time with your attorney preparing for the session of your deposition? Christian, yes. How much time? Christian, about an hour. Okay. Christian, approximately. Mr. Carino, have you been told by anyone affiliated with the next Pirates movie of whether or not that role has been filled, the role of Jack Sparrow? Christian, have I been told? Yes. Christian, nope. All right, I think we're out of time. Is that correct? They said yes. Okay, Mr. Carino, I appreciate your time, and I especially appreciate the fact that you had to do this over the course of 2 separate days, albeit a year apart from one another. And I know you're not party to this action, so I'll respect your time and let you go. Thanks again, appreciate it, and thank you, Mr. Darren. Okay, so Ms. Pendato, Mr. Carino, I'm entitled to some rebuttal questions regarding that testimony. And Mr. Preziato, no, you're not. You're only, hang on. You had 3.5 hours and you used it all. Ms. Bredehoff did a year ago. We had a hearing on whether or not I would get my 3.5 hours. We prevailed in that hearing. I just used my 3.5 hours. He's only required to attend, and this was part of the order as well. He's only required to attend 7 hours. He's not a party to this action. He's not compelled at all to answer any more questions or for us to take any more of his time. We both had our chance to ask 3.5 hours worth of questions. We both did. He's under no obligation. He's not compelled. And my understanding is that he's done for the day. Ms. Bendato, well, I have a couple of questions. If you went over time, I'm allowed that. So I'd ask that few other questions also. Mr. Preciato, I object. Hang on. I object. I object to you asking any questions. Ms. Benito, okay, you stated your objections, Leo. Mr. Preziato, it's up to you. I think you're fully within your rights and Mr. Carino's rights of this to end this deposition now. Mr. Darren, yeah, I think you folks can take it up with the judge. I think we'll put a stipulation in the record with regard to, the signing the transcript, and the folks can fight it out with your judge. You did it last time and were forced to come back for a second session of the deposition. And we're happy to accommodate you to do that. And, we'll live with whatever the resolution is with your judge. All right? Ms. Pendato, Mr. Darren, perhaps you can at least answer one question for me, which is Mr. Depp had originally in February 2021 designated Mr. Carino as an unretained expert. Are you aware of that? Mr. Darren, I'm not aware of that. And as far as I understand, Mr. Carino, you're talking about a trial? Ms. Pendato, he has designated him as an unretained expert. Is it your understanding that Mr. Carino is not going to be an expert at this case? Mr. Darren, that's my understanding. And Mr. Carino, you can confirm that if you'd like, not as a sworn witness, but I don't believe Mr. Carino is going to testify as an expert. Ms. Pendato, Leo, you can confirm that as well? Mr. Preziato, well, let's go off the record. We're done with this deposition. Ms. Pendato, I would like this to be on the record. Mr. Preziato, no, it's not part of the deposition. It's a meet and confer. It's totally, completely different subject. Christian, is it okay that I go take Bowie out? Oh God, poor puppy. Mr. Darren, what I can confirm for you on the record is that Mr. Carino is not here to testify as an expert witness today. So, all right. And in any event, he's not here to give any kind of expert testimony here today. You would certainly, if he were to testify an expert, have the right to depose him as an expert witness, right? So he didn't give any expert testimony. He doesn't. He's not here to testify as an expert. And then we're done. And that's it. That was a really hard read. Holy moly. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That was probably hard to listen to. If you made it this far, congratulations. Congratulations. You all get a gold star. But interesting how Amber was dated, and we knew that she was dating Musk at the time that San Francisco meeting happened, but Depp didn't know. So he was going to go in, reconcile with her, then she was going to go break up with Musk because Depp got, oh my God, she's a hot mess express. Oh dear. Anyway, that was Christian Carino. I will be back with Aaron Filati just as soon as I can. Have a great day, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Take care.